Oh, hang on. Yeah, what are we calling this podcast?
Was it over underrated?
Over underrated. Sous-évalué. Überschätzt. Överunderskattad. Over underrated.
Welcome to episode 3, season 2 of Over Underrated, a music pod with myself, Fran, and my co-host, Babs. This week we're chatting Eurovision again. As you can probably tell, I'm recording this backstage in Rotterdam. Lucky me. We've listened to all 39 entries from all across Europe, and we have to work out our favourite 5 and our worst 5 and then discuss. Enjoy us debating music. There are a few swear words, so please make sure there are no children present, and I will see you again at the halfway point. Au revoir. Hello, welcome, bonjour, and welcome to our Eurovision special. I'm Fran, and this is my co-host, Babs. How are you doing, Babs?
Today, I am not doing my best because on the positive side, I got my first dose of the COVID vaccine yesterday. Hooray! Woo. On the downside, the side effects hit me like a sledgehammer, and I've been feeling like I've been lightly steamrollered all day long. So I am looking forward to having my spirits lifted with a bit of Eurovision chat today.
And, you know, who doesn't love a bit of Eurovision chat? Well, probably half the country. But we have listened to all 39 finalists, not the main final, the semi-finalists, so you don't have to. And we have worked out our top 5 and our worst 5. We know what songs we've chosen, but we don't know the order. So will there be some fun and games ahead, guys? We have made a Spotify playlist as usual, and we are going to debate which we think will win Eurovision and which you think will be nil point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know how you did this, Fran, but this is the first time in my life that I've listened to all the semi-finalists before, because with Eurovision normally, I do like to be surprised on the night. And I know that means that you miss out then on the people who are semi-finalists. And like increasingly, you know, just from being in the world, you do hear some songs that are in the semi-finalists. But it was interesting to really go and sit down and listen to them. So the way I did it was I got my Eurovision playlist from Spotify. I listened to the songs in a random order without knowing the countries that they were from or anything. Then I made like an initial overrated, underrated shortlist. And then I went to watch the videos and the live performances of some of them. And that really changed my mind on some of them, especially on the overrated ones. There was some where I thought like, oh, this is really overrated. But then actually seeing the performance, I enjoyed it much more. So yeah, I would say that my list was fairly divided into a third of these are terrible, a third of these are meh, and a third of these are good. I thought there was a lot of similar sounding songs, but I quite enjoyed how many songs went into a lot of unexpected directions and had unusual like percussion and synths and folk instruments. Yeah, how about you?
So yeah, this is the first time I have ever bothered to listen to semi-finalists. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't mind Eurovision. I'm not going to spend a week on it. So it was interesting. It was interesting. I found out there seems to be a theme. Like I thought there'd be a lot of COVID related songs and a lot of songs like I'm living behind the screen, I'm wearing a mask that shades my smile. I thought it'd be a lot of that sort of bullshit. Sadly, it's not really. Like the main theme I found lyrically is dancing. There's a lot of songs that are talking about dance. Have you noticed that?
I did not notice that, but now that you say it, yes, I think that's true. But there might not be a lot of songs specifically referring to COVID, but in some of the music videos and in the explanation behind some of the lyrics, you do have those mentions. So I think it's there, but it's way more subtle. Because, I mean, imagine if it was like 50% going like, I can't breathe behind my mask, I'm far away, can't get on a plane to see my love. You know, it wouldn't be good.
There's no one wearing masks in the videos. I struggled with mine to find a live performance for some of these.
Yes, because the official videos are sometimes live performances, sometimes music videos, and that will change your opinion. And on some of them, it's like, I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to perform it live, because it's going to, I think, be totally different. And it could be, for the worse or for the better.
At this point in time, they've started to do the first rehearsals, but they're only sort of showing like a minute. But it's filmed on someone's phone about a mile away, so it's really hard. It's really hard to work out. Are they any good live? So it's going to be interesting to hear the live versions of these. And then my luck, if I loved it, it will not qualify to the final.
Oh yeah, we talked about this in our other, because you said this is a Eurovision special. This is the second of our Eurovision specials, because we've done one through the ages. This is specifically looking at 2021. So I think we can safely say, Fran, that after this and after watching Eurovision next week, we're going to be Eurovisioned out, probably.
We are. Although I watched a YouTube clip earlier, and it did all of last year's songs compared to this year's songs. And this year won 22-17 in favour. So we are doing a better year. It's also interesting. I couldn't find that sometimes. Why, for a few countries, they have changed their singer. Because it seems a very strange situation. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're not busy. So
well, with one of them, which is one of my songs, it was one of the singers left, and like the old singer came back.
Oh, really?
And I think, again, from the few people that I follow on Twitter who are Eurovision fans, it's like my knowledge of Eurovision outside of the context is very, I have to piece it together, because there'll be memes and there'll be references, and I'm like, am I going to spend time trying to research? Because there was all these jokes about a certain person leaving a certain band, and I was like, are they making a joke because they think it's funny? Is this actually happening? Very. I think it's let's say a quirky corner of the internet.
I mean, now I've said this, no my luck, I bet one of the singers has died of COVID, and I'm going to like a complete cunt.
I mean, I don't know how vaccinated they are. I know that in the Netherlands, it isn't one of the quickest countries in Europe at the moment. So, fingers crossed, everyone's safe, guys.
I thought, do I go hardcore and research every single band? And I thought, no. I think I've listened to 39 songs. That is more than enough for me to do. I could go through the back catalogue of all of these bands, but come on. I mean, I'm not getting paid for this shit.
Neither am I.
I'm not going to listen to everyone's to compare their previous songs like I would on a normal podcast. I'm basically going face value on this song from this band. So if you're a massive Euro fan, I do apologise if I haven't done the research you may have, but I did my best.
We haven't even started and already there's caveats. I'm sorry. So like I said, I listened to the 39 songs, but then I probably only listened to about 12 again, or 12 or 13 to whittle it down to my 5. And then when I got your list, there were 5 extra.
Mm-hmm.
So I went off and watched the video because I hadn't yet, and kind of gave my opinion. But because I did watch the version of Eurovision 2020, if a band had a song in Eurovision 2020, I did go and listen to it to compare it. So maybe I've done a little bit more work. Also, I did go and look at the lyrics as well. So
I do have the lyrics in front of me.
Some are weirder than others. My God. And some I had to go and watch an 8-minute video about pagan traditions to find out what was going on.
I think sometimes I wish I didn't see the translation. Yeah.
Yes.
I think mystery is something you need for Eurovision.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
So, we get into this?
Let's do it.
Underrated.
Okay, I'm going to go with my first pick for the better side of Eurovision.
Okay.
My top 5. This is my first pick.
Okay.
I may add a drum roll, I probably won't. I am going for, I never thought I'd say these words, Bulgaria and Victoria singing Growing Up is Getting Old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have never heard of Victoria. Like many of these entries, I believe she is from a singing contest. They always seem to be either X Factor or The Voice. Many of these people, aren't they? That seems to be the way they choose most of it. And
which makes sense.
Yeah, I guess you've got 9 singers on. But again, I've only seen the video to this. She's obviously a beautiful young lady. Let's may have affected me. But but she's got quite a delicate, beautiful voice. And I think when I first heard it, I gave it a 6 out of 10. And then when I went round again, I thought, well, actually, this is a pretty decent pop song. And I can imagine this in the charts. And some of these Eurovision songs, I couldn't imagine fitting on radio, maybe in the UK. Like sometimes you think, okay, they put in these oddities just to stand out on Eurovision. But it feels like she isn't relying on a gimmick. Like there's no keychains at the end. There's no massive like, sort of notes. There's no dance routine. It's just she's just relying on the song. And I think it's a well-crafted song. It reminds me of like Natasha Bedingfield or early Nelly Furtado could get away with this.
Really? Yeah. Not in my opinion, but I'll give my opinion in a second.
I think her voice isn't overcomplicated. It's true. She comes across as a decent pop artist. And the more I listen to it, the more I like it. Again, I've only seen the video, and it's a very well made video, which could help.
Yes.
I don't know if it's just her and a microphone on stage. It may not have enough to push it through. It depends on how she's going to perform it, because it's quite a low key pop song. There's no highlight. It'd be interesting how she would do on the live stage. So I don't think she can win it, because I don't think she has enough. But saying that, the Portuguese guy was quite low key.
And Duncan Lawrence.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you're not on board Bulgaria.
So for the songs that you gave, I guessed if you thought it was going to be overrated or underrated, and I thought you would have thought this was overrated. So I'm surprised at this first pick. For me, I didn't get Nelly Furtado or Natasha Bedingfield at all. I got Billie Eilish. I thought it was, it kind of felt for me like a Billie Eilish ripoff. And as was her song from last year, because she was also in 2020, she had a song called Tears Getting Sober. And I prefer that song to this one. So for me, it was definitely in the third that was meh. Like I didn't dislike it, but I wasn't kind of blown away by it. And I felt, having done this very methodically, I really felt that so many of these songs were written for Eurovision, if that makes sense. Whereas others, and I feel like a lot of my picks, it's like, this wasn't written for Eurovision. It was just like, there was a band, they had some songs, and, they put themselves forward. So, I think it's nice enough, and the video is like a short film, and it starts with this guy being like, oh, Eurovision 2020 is cancelled, and then she's in like her childhood home or something, and it's very kind of emotional. But yeah, I think you're right that I don't know how that's going to come across. Are they going to replicate the video in the background or something like that? Are they going to have dancers? I'm not sure. So I would agree that probably she's going to do, I would say like, top half, but not win.
I have had a look at the current odds. They keep changing.
I'm glad you did, because I didn't.
Well, they keep changing, and now they've done the first rehearsals. It's changed again, and she's currently the 5th favourite. So therefore, she may have done a decent live performance. So we will find out sometime next week.
Yeah, I did enjoy the lyrics. Playing Tetris with my feelings.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's nice to hear Tetris mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, when it's a young woman who probably hasn't played Tetris on the Game Boy like I certainly did, it was very nice. But have you seen, do you know the comedian Josh Weller?
Yeah.
Have you seen the video of him where it's like trying to decode singers in the 2020s, where it's like hoi ho ho, and like I couldn't, when I heard this song, I couldn't help but think of that video. I would put a link in the show notes to understand, but unfortunately now when I hear, like, I quite like Billie Eilish, but when I do hear stuff like that, or these kind of voices that are a little bit, mumbly, I can't help but think of that.
I I don't know enough Billie Eilish. I know her Bond theme and her big single and the bad guy with it. So, but what is interesting when I've looked at these songs is that a lot of the better ones have co-writes from Swedish people, so I didn't know it was allowed.
Oh, of course.
So I thought you had to have it written by your country owner. So she's written it alongside someone called Helena Larsson and Oliver Björkfall, who I assume might be Swedish, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that the Swedes can definitely write a lot of pop, and we've talked about before kind of what countries invest in that, and maybe Bulgaria is one of them.
Underrated.
So who's your first pick pick?
Roop with the Discotheque. So they were also in 2020 with a song called On Fire. It had similar vibes with the same band, the same dancers, the same kind of outfits, but it wasn't as memorable and as camp as this one. This is actually, I knew this song from before because some of my friends had sent it to me being like, oh my God, have you seen Lithuania's entry? I can't help but love it. You know, I was really like, is this really going to be one of my top 5? But I'm like, yeah, it's everything. It's the catchiness of the song, the performance of it. I think it's really good. I think it's going to be really good on the night. I love the shuka shaka shuka. Before the podcast, I sent you a song by this Ukrainian band called Kazaki, which it reminded me of, which is one of the campest music videos you'll ever see. And it reminded me of that because it's these kind of very muscular men, but they're dressed in like high heels and
Someone
they're topless.
on YouTube did a good comment saying, has Lady Gaga's backing dancers escaped and made their own song?
But you know, that song is 10 years old.
Is it really?
That song is 10 years old. And I was like, if they entered Eurovision today, I think they'd be serious contenders. But yeah, I wanted you to see it because it did remind me of that. And I thought you'd be quite entertained. So yeah, that was one of my top 5.
Well, this is interesting because this was on my first top 5 best songs. But I feel the gimmick dies off each time I listen to it. So the first time you hear it, it's, oh, this is brilliant. This is very Eurovision. And then by the third time, I was like, oh, this is going to get annoying. So that's why it slipped down a little bit. Yeah, it's ultra camp. It reminded me of Fisher Spooner. Remember them? Yeah, that's all.
No need to emerge from nothing.
But with Louis Spence, anyone know that? That's the lead singer.
Louis Spence is a very camp choreographer who, if you don't know him, look him up. That's really funny.
And I can't stop seeing Louis Spence. I kept waiting for him to do a cat impression. But yeah, I mean, I like the dance routines. Like there's like a guy and a girl dancing behind him doing like quite cool moves. Like he does that finger dancing. There's some nice Robotnik's breakdown in it. But yeah, I just kept thinking, this is fine when I'm watching a Eurovision final. If it's the first time I heard it and I was watching the final, it would stick out. And I think, yeah, I'm loving that one. And I think, unfortunately, now I've heard it without the video 3 or 4 times, I think, oh, actually, this is a bit of a gimmick. But I was trying to think that, like, we always have this cliche Eurovision, like, song in our head. It has to be, like, you know, all camp and dancey and cheesy. But has there been many cheesy poppy songs winning it at all recently?
Recently, I would say not so much, but sometimes they do quite well. Like I didn't watch Eurovision, I think in 2009. I have a feeling I was on a plane somewhere. I was traveling somewhere, and so I couldn't see it. But Alexander Rybak from Norway, the violin guy, won it, and he was very annoying. He was very, very annoying. And I again, one of those winners where I'm like, oh, really? You know, I don't really know any of the other singers from that. And when I went to see Eurovision in Lisbon in 2018, so I went to I think the first semi-final, I was there kind of in the arena watching it live. And he was back. He was the first act. And I was like, fuck off, Alexander. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a very nice guy. I don't know why he stirs such deep emotions. I think he just has this very, I'm so innocent and charming vibe, and I don't trust him. And actually, a few of my picks and your picks, I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. I think it's very fake.
But but in the UK, we imagine like Scoots or Steps would be perfect Eurovision. But I don't think most bands actually these days would win it.
But yeah, because even Netta, you know, who won for Israel, you know, with I'm Not Your Toy, You Stupid Boy, like it was quirky, campy, but it wasn't cheesy. Like it still was like reasonably well produced pop. Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right there.
It's not like Butlin's Holiday Camp pop music.
Yeah, I think shit ballads are more likely to win than cheesy pop.
And I guess that's the traditional. I guess, you know, back in the day, as we heard recently on our previous podcast, the ballad was the king or queen for many years.
Absolutely.
Until ABBA came along, I think.
Overrated.
Speaking of annoying, I'm going to go to Germany with, is it Jendrik or Jendrik?
Jendrik.
Fuck me. I'm not a violent person, but if I could punch a screen, it'd be this boy.
I feel exactly. But I thought though this one was going to be later because that was also on mine.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah.
Like, it's like he makes Jason Mraz look edgy. Like it's every cliche in there. Like it's like a ukulele at the start, and then he has like some whistling, and then he's got a bit of tap dancing, and then he's got a trumpet, and it's like I don't know if they're going for the TikTok generation, because obviously I've only seen the video in the laundrette, and it's got lots of like wacky dancing and lots of girling for the camera,
And a woman dressed up as a middle finger.
Like isn't the lyric like something like wiggle me the middle finger and I won't wiggle back at you or something as the chorus?
So you can wiggle with that middle finger. It'll never wiggle back to you. But there is some excellent punnage. I don't know if you picked up on this. He says, I really don't care that you want to bash me. Do it with flair and I'll let you be. I'll let you be common, Eileen. Oh, like, come on, Eileen.
There's no kids we even know anymore. So, so look, who actually wrote that song? Did he actually write that song?
He did write that song
by himself completely.
I possibly with someone else.
And is he? I read that he is a YouTuber, they chose, and he's different from last year. They changed it up, didn't they?
Well, so I loved reading the YouTube comments on all the videos. So everyone just kept referring to him as the German PewDiePie, and I was like, yeah, fair enough. I agree with you. This was one of my overrateds as well, and it was incredibly annoying. And I don't know who this boy is. You know, I wish him well, but it was very annoying, a very annoying song. And the thing is, it's like, I don't want to be one of those where it's like, oh, I know, blah, blah, he's so woke. I actually quite like the fact that it's, you know, clearly like a diverse cast of people that he's put together to like sing and dance in this laundrette, but it just felt very pushed, like very, again, fake.
I don't believe it. I think he goes home and does cat off his dick. I don't believe that he is a lovely guy who cares about everyone. I might cut that out. But, do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel honest. So I don't know. I might be wrong.
I mean, all that Wikipedia said about his personal life was Generic lives in Hamburg with his boyfriend. Well, yeah, good for him. But he says, you can wiggle with that middle finger. It'll never wiggle back to you, which is in direct contrast with one of my underrated picks, which is Dark Side by Blind Channel, the Finnish, what they call themselves, violent pop. I wrote down electro metal rap pop. Oh, and the song starts with "Put your middle fingers up." So I was like, well, clearly this is the two sides of Eurovision in one. Like,
they need to have those songs back either side of each other.
They really do. I mean, so Generic, obviously, so Generic is German, so he will be in the final because Germany are one of the big five. But everyone else that we've mentioned so far isn't guaranteed, and yeah, neither are this band because they're finished.
Underrated.
This is possibly my favorite song. It's really funny because, again, like I said to you, I was listening to this without knowing the country or anything. I just put shuffle on Spotify and I wasn't looking at my computer. And I was like, oh yeah, these guys, like, they sound a little bit, there's something a bit bomb funk MCs about them. And I was like, oh, they're Finnish. Great. Fantastic. They're blending so many different genres because it is sort of metal, but also Linkin Park, but also rap, but also pop. And I mean, the lyrics are very emo. So in my pitch black paradise, don't want to cry. I got to get paralyzed. My body is my weapon, so I keep it loaded. Living that life on the dark side, like the 27 Club. Headshot, we don't want to grow up. Okay, all right. You know, like those lyrics don't resonate with me as much now that I'm I'm a little bit older. But I think the music is absolutely banging, and I don't think they're going to get through. I really hope they do. I mean, sometimes these kind of the heavier songs do. But yeah, for me, they're absolutely my favorite.
See, this almost made my bottom 5.
I was surprised that it didn't. I thought it might have.
Because I said, is this 2021 or 2001? Because this is short trousers and a DJ. I was not expecting this. And yeah, god damn it. It does seem a bit cliche, like the guitar player keeps poking his tongue out and doing that shaky hand things they did back in the day. Like it can't see
like Ali G.
Like they burnt their fingers doing that kind of shit. They're all in black. Black's cool. Then we've got cool long hair. Yeah. And it does seem like an angry Christian teen who came back from download, like trying to write aggressive lyrics but not too aggressive. If that makes sense. Yeah. And I kind of felt like, you know, is this Lord's? Is it Lord? Was it Lord's?
Lordy.
Metal band?
Lordy.
Lordy. Is this Lordy's legacy? because I'm pretty sure they'd be pissed off.
Well, the thing, metal is huge, like huge in Finland, more than anywhere else. Like,
I know metal is,
yeah,
but not metal. Not.
I mean, but that's it. Both this and Lordi, it's like metal, but with a twist. Like camp metal or kind of pop metal. So, listen, I will totally agree with you on the lyrics, but
even Korn used to go.
Yeah.
They even have the bits as well. Oh, mate.
I think so, because I wasn't really into that music at the time. For me, it doesn't feel like, definitely Linkin Park. That's the biggest thing, especially with the DJ and Incubus, I guess. For me, it is modern enough for it to not annoy me, and I just thought it was very original, and I enjoyed it.
It will get to the final.
I don't know. I mean, if Hatari in Iceland can, then maybe this one can, but it really depends, I think, because I think there is a bit of pop sensibility there. Like, it is catchy. I obviously I've listened to it now 3 or 4 times, and Left Outside Alone, the Anastasia cover. But like, it's like it really stays in your head. So maybe, but I'm not keeping my fingers crossed.
I don't know. I think maybe you can do like a metal song once in Eurovision and get away with it. I think now people won't be that impressed anymore. I'll be surprised. I think that looking at the odds, it's quite low down.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
On the list to get through to the final.
I'm not surprised, but that's kind of also why I wanted to mention them, because I think maybe even more than you do, really, so few times to do the. I think this is probably my favorite, or kind of tied, and it rarely happens that they get very close. So yeah.
Underrated.
Okay, so this is my other favourite. Although I am not going to pronounce this, I might need you to help me, please.
Oh, G. John's Tears.
G. John's Tears, and is it Tu l'univers?
Tu l'univers. You don't pronounce.
Univers.
Yeah.
Which means
all the universe.
All the universe.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, are you surprised that I love this?
No, I guessed that you would pick this as underrated. So good. I'm getting to know you.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is quite cliche Eurovision, but I think it's a very well-made song. He even has that high note, which people love, so they can applaud that halfway through the song. It's got quite a diverse voice. It's very dramatic. It's got a lot of emotion. I think will win the crowd over. Although I did find a live performance of him doing this by himself on a piano, and it was nowhere near as good as the recorded version. So it'll be very interesting to see which direction he goes on the day, because he needs to have the dramatic band, he needs to have the production behind it. When it's stripped down, it does seem a bit boy's own. I'm hoping that he does perform better on a day. But interesting, a lot of people say that his song from last year was better.
Way better, yeah.
Was it really?
Yes, way better. Répondez-moi. I much preferred it. I thought this. He obviously has a great voice, and there is a slick production, but I thought this was a lot blander than Répondez-moi from last year.
It starts off bland, but I think it grows as it goes along, and I really like the ending of it. So it's yeah, like I said, it's quite cliche modern day Eurovision, and yeah, I think this is in the top 3 favourites to win the day.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting. Yeah, so this one for me falls in the middle. I actually got him confused with the French entry from last year, who was this very, very handsome guy, but who also did like a very bland song. And then I was like, oh no, it's the other guy singing in French. I listened to this and I was like, nah. And then I went to listen to Répondez-moi and I was like, oh yeah, that's a shame, because I actually feel that most of the bands who have come back, their songs are better. But this one, yeah, not so much for me. And as French speakers are wont to do, the lyrics are very dramatic. Did you look them up?
I did, but also this is interesting. The last time a French language song won was Celine Dion.
That doesn't surprise me.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
He also was doing Switzerland. Yeah, I thought, I'm surprised it's taken that long for a French song.
Yeah, I wonder, the French dominance, the French language dominance has changed. Like in Portugal, for example, my grandparents, the second language that they learned at school was French, and it was only in my parents' generation that English was the second language. So yeah, as English has dominated more, again, like maybe less people speak French. Or I thought the lyrics made me dislike it even more, because it's like,
I haven't really delved into
Wow.
it. I looked up like what it means, but I haven't actually read the lyrics
Well,
in
Fran,
English.
the whole universe, our two hearts under the earth, in the middle of the cracks where everything explodes. Be at the point of impact without you. What will become of our breaths if they stay on the edge? This love that twists us. I see pieces of you behind us, and what the pain has done to me.
Yeah, I'm crying.
Yeah, for me, yes. You're saying that he's one of the favorites. That doesn't surprise me, but yeah, personally, I thought this one was really in the middle.
And Switzerland like to be in the middle, so it's perfect.
Yeah, they like to be. Yeah, it was really interesting the fact that my dad was saying, if Switzerland, they sang in Italian when Italy wasn't there. So there we go. Maybe they're singing in French to kind of bolster it a bit more.
Underrated.
So I will go for Shum by Go A. So I remember these guys from last year. They had the excellent song Solove. I thought this one was even better. It speeds up and slows down multiple times. I think, we talked in our last episode about how Italy often have very good songs. I think Ukraine very often also have good songs. The video, I called it steampunk female Adam and the ants dancing in the forest. And yeah, it is quite repetitive, and her voice is not like, it's like a harsh voice, but I really love it. And then I went to look at the lyrics and I was like, what? Because the way that the Google translated them, it made zero sense. Like, it didn't translate all the words. So I had to go and watch an 8-minute video by, I think he's like a Ukrainian professor of English, explaining the song. So Shum means noise, and it is about inviting the springtime in. There's this pagan tradition where you invite the spirit of Shum in. And yeah, there's a lot of kind of nuances and symbolism in the song. And it's all about, yeah, in our Shuma, there is a green fur coat. The girls were walking, their fur coats were torn, sewing, blowing hemp, because apparently there's like hemp plants in Ukraine. This eyelash greenish, green periwinkle uncovered. And I was just like, what's going on? But yeah, apparently it's like, girls are dancing around, break the fur coat of the spirit who is sleeping and keeping nature still during the winter. And now spring is here. You welcome them in. And in the video, I still haven't seen the film Midsummer, but he said that like what's going on in Midsummer is not, a million miles away from what's going on here. So yeah, that made me like it even more. I just thought like, catchy song, interesting. I've learned about Ukrainian folk history now, and very catchy. What did you think?
Technique is called white voice, apparently.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Weird technique. And I've noticed on YouTube, this video has the most amount of reactions videos to it.
Oh, really?
Especially to like Americans. Everyone seems very interested in what Americans think of Eurovision. I guess, yeah, it's kind of like budget Mad Max, isn't it, the video?
Yeah, okay.
With some, freaky dancing at the end. No, yeah, I actually like it. This was a contender.
I thought you might not like this, actually.
No, it's weird because it is catchy, isn't it? It's like the end of it sort of speeds up as it goes along, and I thought it would be a good game for musical chairs. As it speeds up at the
end. Yeah. So apologies to Go A there, but yeah.
I wasn't. I mean, I'm a fan of seeing a penny whistle.
Yes. So the Ukraine Interval Act in 2017, it was an electro band playing with a traditional orchestra. There were some mad instruments. There's like these horns that are like the length of my living room, a drum with like a kind of tassel that you pull through and it makes a noise. And it did remind me of that a bit again, where it's like, yeah, you clearly have this kind of throbbing beat, but there's this flute, and I think there's probably other traditional instruments and stuff that we don't know about because we don't know about Ukrainian folk music. But yeah, I think it's fantastic.
I think that this would do well. I think if they have a great stagecraft, like people dancing, like doing a video, I think it will do well. I did listen to the song from last year, and it's not as good at all. This is a much better song. So I think this will get to the final, definitely.
Yeah, I watched the Solove again from last year, and she doesn't sound completely in tune. The video that I saw, so I was just like, please, I hope that like you're drinking your honey and your lemon, because she has a very powerful voice. So when it's used well, I think it will be amazing, like you're saying, especially if there's that staging too.
Hopefully they will be riding on a car on my way in.
Overrated.
I will go for one of my least favourite ones. I'm a bit nervous about hurting someone's feelings right now.
Oh, no, I think I know where we're going, yeah.
I've gone for Portugal with the Black Mamba singing Love Is On My Side. And am I right in saying this is the first ever English entry for Portugal?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
It's good Paolo isn't here right now.
This is a horrible dad rock. It's like Top Loader. And it's just so dull. I can imagine it's some sort of Sunday brunch chill out. And I just don't think it's at all for Eurovision. It's really dated. And who's going to enjoy this apart from like a 60-year-old man?
You say that. I remember when the Netherlands, I think, came second with like a country and western ballad, like a really bad.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, and I when I just saw it kept doing on, I was like, who is voting for this? I think there is an audience for this. I think
it's quite low down as well on the betting of the song. It's in the bottom 5. But yeah, it's such a really odd choice of Portugal, who've done quite well recently. Are you angry that they've gone away from the language of Portugal? Or?
No, I think given that it's the first time, I think again, we had this language discussion. I get it, but yes, I am surprised that if you're going to go for singing in English, why something like this? I do agree. This almost also made my bottom 5, and I would have guessed correctly that you thought it was overrated.
And lyrically, like Love Is On My Side.
Oh, but you know the story? Did you read about the story?
Oh, go on. Are they quite a known band in Portugal?
No,
do you know them?
No, I'd never heard of them before. So the lyrics are about a real life woman they met in the red light district in Amsterdam. But yeah, I find it very funny that what I feel is still absolutely quintessentially Portuguese is it finishes on a very, very melancholic note, because the whole thing is like, she was chasing blind love and a bunch of broken dreams, but then she was setting her body on a dirty cold floor. And then they say, she told us that she never gave up. She believes that love was with her all the time. But then it ends with like, love is on my side, maybe not tonight. It's like, well, great. Like very Portuguese, because the traditional Portuguese music, fado, is very depressing. And I feel like it is, sometimes Portuguese people get lumped in as like, they're Mediterranean and fun and party animals. And it's like, there definitely is that side, but like, there is also this very melancholy side. So I did laugh that, like, even though the song's in English, even though it's in a genre that I would say is not particularly popular in Portuguese, there's still that kind of melancholy lyricism coming in. But yeah, I think I didn't like it when I heard it as a song. And then when I saw the performance, I was like, it somehow makes it worse seeing it live.
Oh yeah, the backing band looks so smug. And the guy on the bass is even doing the whole like bass nod and like smiling. It's like, all right, Dad.
All right, Dad. Sorry, Portugal. I mean, I always hope you do well for the sake of it being Portugal, but yeah, I don't think
I was waiting for you to put the UK as your overrated.
No, I didn't choose. No, that, again, fine. I think I literally put fine.
It really is just fine. It's just a really average song.
Underrated.
So, what's your next pick?
My next pick, speaking of countries that I have lived in / am from, Hooverphonic, The Wrong Place, Belgium. So do you know Hooverphonic? Because they are actually a reasonably well-known band in the trip-hop world.
I've heard of Hooverskank. Not Hooverphonic.
Pick up the bases. No, very, very different. So the Mad About You is their most famous song. I think if you heard it, you would know it. So yeah, go check it out.
So they always sing in English, yeah?
Yes, as many as I would say most Belgian, especially Flemish bands do. I much prefer this to their song from last year. It was released, was like a very forgettable ballad, and this is the one where the original singer, whose name I'm gonna really mispronounce, but I think it's like Geike Adnat is her name. Sorry, I know. I learned Dutch for 3 months. Clearly, not enough. But the fact that she was back, she's the woman who sings on Mad About You. the video where she's like an older woman having a good time. I enjoyed it. And yeah, this was the 13th song I listened to, and this was the first one that I felt wasn't composed for Eurovision. You know, similar with Go Away and with Blind Channel as well. It's like, oh, it's just it's a band that has a song, and it felt very original. And who would have thought "Don't You Ever Dare to Wear My Johnny Cash T-Shirt" would be so catchy and repetitive. I think it's an ironic title as well. It's called The Wrong Place. I feel like, is that a bit tongue-in-cheek? Are they in the wrong place? And I really enjoyed the Miss Havisham vibes of the music video, where she's like in a wedding dress, but like alone in a house going mad. And then at the end, the guy who she slept with, his head's cut on the floor. Like, yeah, I just think it's a good song, good concept, and I'm looking forward to seeing it stage live.
Yeah, apparently it's a play on These Boots Are Made for Walking. Apparently it's that's a good inspiration from. I wonder if Johnny Cash T-shirts are going to sell big this year in Belgium.
I wonder if she's going to wear, or like the band's going to wear Johnny Cash T-shirts. But yeah, it's when you say it, Johnny Cash T-shirt, like it is. There's something about it, like it is. It sticks in the mind.
Yeah. I think like the two lyrics that popped out for me on the first round of listening to these was Tetris and a Johnny Cash T-shirt stuck out for me. Do you know the band from Canada called Metric?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it might be a bit of Metric.
Yeah.
They're slower songs, but again, I agree with you. Like, this is no way for Eurovision, and I'd be surprised if this goes well at all, because it's quite a restrained vocal. Like, there's no like theatrical singing. Like, the chorus isn't that different from the verse. It's quite a simple track. There's no gimmicks. She's got quite a cool vocal, but
she's got a great
cool
voice.
vocals. It's cool vocals what they want in Eurovision, or do they want a fancy vocal?
But again, the fact she's an older woman, I think she's probably the only one, right? I think compared to everyone else. I feel like there's a chance there to stand out, and I don't know if they will. But I hope so, because gosh, let's look this up now. How many times has Belgium won Eurovision?
But if you're saying that they're quite a well-known band, is that going to help in your?
Well, so I would say they're a well-known band in the trip hop world. So they toured, I think, with Portishead and Tricky and all that, because they are from that area. They've been around for ages. I can see everyone singing "Don't You Ever Dare to Wear My Johnny Cash T-shirt," like almost like people holding up placards or whatever. So yeah, I really hope they do well. But where are they in the betting?
So Belgium is not in the top 10. That's always showing me at the moment, saying the bottom 10 and the top 10. So it means that they're bang in the middle.
In the middle.
Do you know what the favourite is?
So is it the French? No, yeah.
It's a French one, yeah. Which could not be more French if it tried.
Yeah.
It'd be like England. So sorry, a bit racist. It'd be like UK releasing a Chaz and Dave track talking about being down a pub. That's how French is going to me. It's like, because
it's called Voila. Yeah, I'm looking at the notes because I did make notes on all the songs, even though I didn't go back.
It's like Edith be there, sort of like ballad, voila.
Yeah, I put modern French chanson. Fine, she has a great voice, and I enjoyed the way it sped up, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I was shocked to hear that. It's 4-1. Second's Malta.
Oh yeah, Malta almost made my my top 5.
Well, everyone's saying that last year was a better song for Malta.
See, because she wasn't on the list, I didn't listen to her song from last year. But yeah, with Belgium, I mean, fingers crossed.
You made it halfway. Thank you for listening to the first 45 minutes. Can you listen to another 45? Of course you can, because you bloody love us. Yeah, I think by the time we recorded this, I had, again, changed my mind a few times, and I probably wouldn't have included a couple of the ones I put on the playlist, but there's just too many songs and not enough time. So, let's check out our next picks with part 2.
Underrated.
So my next favourite is Ireland, one of the most popular countries in Eurovision history, with Leslie Roy singing Maps. and Ireland always do very well. And again, they have another well-crafted pop song. But my question is if Ireland do so well in Eurovision, why are there not many big Irish pop bands?
Well, I mean, it's a small country, right? And I feel like for the size of the country that is, you've got U2, you've got I guess it's more bands rather than pop stars, right? Because
but they're quite old, aren't they? U2 and Westlife and Boyzone, we're talking over 20 years ago.
Oh God, yeah, we are, aren't we? But I would say Ireland is such a small country that I think if you're a band, there is an infrastructure there. But if you want to be a pop star, you're competing with people in the UK and in the US where there's just a much bigger infrastructure. And I don't know if you know the podcast An Irishman Abroad.
No.
Have you heard of it with Jarlath Regan? It's quite interesting because he basically, I think it's now opened up a bit more, but he interviews Irish people who had to go abroad or, who live abroad to become famous, like very often sort of actors and comedians and stuff like that. And I think with a lot of Irish people, it's like, they have to move outside of Ireland to make it big, so to say.
But I just put down, this to me is not necessarily Eurovision. I think this is a very modern pop song. It's got great strings, it's got great tribal drums. It has that bit of a cliche now when they do the chorus without any percussion, and then on the second line for them bringing in the drums to give it a bit of a pop. So that it works well. I mean, it's not original in any sense, but I think she's got a very strong voice. Again, it's not one of those annoying voice when she twists around all the nose. It's just a clear, strong, cool vocal. It's not complicated. It's not cheesy. And last year she did another big pop song, and she said she wanted to hold back a little bit from doing an obvious pop song. So she's gone from a little bit of a cooler vibe. The video is obviously because it's her running through the Irish countryside.
Yeah, it's an Ireland Tourism Board advert. Yeah.
Come to Ireland. Again, obviously in the video it's just her by herself. What's she going to do on stage? Is it going to be a live band, or is it just going to be her? I can't see this not getting to the final. I think that the more I listen to it, the more I like it. I don't think I will be annoyed by it in 10 more listens time, or by the time I see it on the final. How about you?
So you probably heard my intake of breath, because this was also on my list as overrated. This was one of my least favorite songs, and I had to listen to it a few times to be like, am I really going to put this in? Because as I said at the beginning, with the overrated, I changed my mind on a lot of them. And one of my kind of honorable mentions at the end, I've totally changed my mind on a song after watching the video of it, because then you learn the backstory. But I think the song is so bland. Like the video is very nice, but I don't feel she has a personality. I also didn't like her song Story of My Life, and again I feel like I should, because it is again like, she's there in a video with a diverse cast of people, and again it's meant to be about authenticity, but I just don't buy it for a second. And I don't think it is just because obviously when you see maps you think of yeahs, and obviously this is not it. But no, I'm sorry, Fran, this is one of my least favorites.
No, I can see why people wouldn't like it, because when I first heard it, it was like, oh, okay. And then it's on repeat listening, but actually, okay, like this could be on the radio, and I wouldn't turn over. So I think I've gone for songs which I don't think will annoy me as much, which is why I put things like Germany at the bottom. Yeah,
I mean, again, I'm surprised at there are quite a few power ballads that I could have very happily chucked in here. I don't know what it was about this one. I think it just, in a way, I was more insulted by the blandness of it than a power ballad, because at least with the power ballads, there's a bit of excitement going on. Whereas with this, I was just, it felt very meh to me. But I do think she's a potential winner. I don't know where she is on the betting, but I think this will actually do quite well.
Yes, she's not in the top 10 or bottom 10, so she's just going to be around about, I guess.
Like she's quite a striking woman. Like in the Story of My Life video, she's got like her hair slicked back and she's wearing a pink suit. And when it started, I was like, oh, okay, like maybe this one's better, and then it wasn't, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know what it is. Sometimes it just doesn't click, and I'm sorry, Leslie, but I just don't click with you. I'm sure you're devastated.
I'm sorry, Leslie. I mean, does this show the quality of the music for Eurovision that this is my top 5? Is another question.
Yeah, I mean, I said that I thought a third were good. How is that lower for you?
I mean, I literally scored every single one, and then I went back to ones I gave like above a 7, and the ones I gave below a 4 to choose my. And yeah, I probably gave 20 about a 6 out of 10. This is like, yeah, that's right
in the middle.
Overrated.
If we're going into songs that are on both our lists, then I want to hear what you think about the Danish entry. And I tried to look up how this is pronounced. I think it's Fyr og Flamme. Oh God, Oveos Parhin. No, it's not that. I'm sorry, but let's just say the Danish entry. I did put it several times, but it was like an hour ago, and I can't remember because this was on your list. So, yeah. Do you think this is overrated or underrated?
I'm gonna shock you. And
okay.
This is on my top 5.
Oh no! See, that doesn't shock me at all. And that's exactly what I thought.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. For me, unfortunately, overrated. But because right, okay. So a lot of jokes were being made about how like it's a topsy-turvy Eurovision when Denmark are singing in Danish for the first time since 1997. Because very often like the Scandinavians and the Nordics are often singing in English, and Portugal they're singing in English. I wanted to like it because the guys in the video look quite charming, but it's for me. I think I feel similarly to what you feel about the Finnish entry. It's too retro, like it's too much of a throwback. It's not like on the one hand it could be like, oh, introducing that kind of 70s music and ABBA-esque music to a new generation, fine, but it's not modern enough for me. And it's a bit twee, and in the video he's not singing in tune. So for all those reasons, that's why I didn't pick it. But yeah, I definitely want to hear what you think, and then let's talk about the lyrics because they are dodgy.
So literally, on my Amazon playlist, I had the Root, the Lithuanian one, in my top 5, and then last minute, I then listened to the Lithuanian one again and thought, oh, this is going to get a bit annoying after a while. And I quickly changed it to Denmark. So it only just got in there. I don't know. When I first heard it, I didn't like it. And then by the 4th time, I thought, actually, like sonically, I quite enjoy the synth strings. And it does sound a little bit like Tragedy by the Bee Gees. Yeah, the backing music. Again, it's one of those weird bands when it's like a guy and 2 guys, one singing, one playing guitar, but you can't hear barely any guitar in the entire song. Yeah. It's all keyboards.
I remember in the Finnish entry and in the Ukrainian entry, in their respective videos, the guitarists are like jumping up and down and going like rah, and it's like I can't really hear your instrument there.
Well, even in my notes, I put it's very 80s and it's very basic pop, but I think it will do well for some reason. But then after I chose like my top 5, I then sort of like went on YouTube and listened to some like Euro hardcore fans and what their picks are, and a lot of people think this is terrible.
Oh, okay, that surprises me.
So I think I've backed a shit horse.
But no, I think because again of my pessimism and also kind of past experience, very often the songs that I don't like are the ones that do it. And I think the retro flavor of it, I mean, I guess it depends on who is the jury and who is voting for it. Like, I actually don't know what the age range for Eurovision is. But I reckon there is an older contingent, like Paolo and others. And I think if you're the kind of person who enjoys that retro throwback, like this, to me, this sounds like a Eurovision song from another millennium, literally. If you like that kind of thing, I think it's going to do well. I think if he sings better on the night, he really sang not that much in tune on the video that I saw. So maybe with a different performance it could be a bit better. But yeah.
Overrated.
Let's go for Russia.
Oh yeah, you think this is overrated, don't you?
Yeah. Okay. So let's imagine I am going for the music here because obviously I don't speak Russian. So when you listen to this without a fucking clue what they're on about, this is not my bag whatsoever. It's kind of annoying. I don't even like the backing singers and their dance moves. And I watched it twice and thought, wow. I mean, it's odd because obviously when you think of Russia, you don't expect to have this as an entry. Like it's not like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed man singing about loving Putin, you know. But then again, you know, like Russia have had some very left field choices over the past 5 years, which is not what you expect from Russia in a cliche. Like obviously last year, Little Big were one of the favourites to win the whole competition, weren't they?
They were fantastic.
Alongside Iceland. And, you know, they had so many viral videos across Europe. I think that the video you sent me for last year has already hit 200 million on YouTube.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, I wanted to discuss it with you because I was really... So I also picked this song as one of my favorites, so we can get into that. But I was really sad that they went back because absolutely that's one of those bands where I'm like, where else am I going to be introduced to something like this outside of Eurovision? Like I'd really have to look for it. Although they do, they've collaborated with the Estonian rapper Tommy Cash, who's also collaborated with Charlie XCX and a bunch of other people. So maybe I would have got there, but
I think you because that's I knew Little Big because they had that weird song beforehand.
Which one?
Hold on, I'll see if I can find it. So yeah, you know, like
you knew them before Eurovision.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not.
It's called. I can't pronounce it. It has 552 million views.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's called Skibidi.
Oh, Skibidi. Yeah.
And that came out 2 years ago. So I knew that because it's one of those viral, weird, fucked up videos.
Yeah.
So yeah, and because of that, I can imagine they would have maybe had a chance of winning Eurovision last year.
Yes, although I think again I was going to discuss this later. I think Iceland would have maybe won.
Yes.
Or they would have been some of the favourites. But yes, when I saw that this was on your list, I thought for sure France put this as overrated, and I haven't. No, this was absolutely one of my favourites. I mean, I also didn't know obviously what the hell was going on because I don't speak Russian. There's a bit of English.
So did you like this before you knew it was about? Because obviously we now know it's about, you know, it's a feminist song about women are better than just being in a field, and you know this is what it's like.
Did you say being in a field?
Yeah. The lyrics at the start of it is about being in a field.
Okay, sorry. I just because I've got the whole like, oh, you know, you're over 30, you know, you should have kids, lose some weight. I was like, what? That's not what I've got written down. Okay, anyway.
Oh no, yes, it starts. I think it goes through the history of Russia, and at the start, it's about when women worked in fields, and that's all they could do. And then it progresses, and then nowadays it's about how in Russia, if you're over 30, you should have had a kid by now, or something wrong with you.
Yeah, and you should lose some weight, and etc. etc. Yeah.
And I don't know how it works in Russia, if that's being voted by the public or what. If it has, that's quite interesting. And
I'm more cynical about it. I'm like, this is probably what Russia is putting forward to show, oh no, don't worry. Like, even though literally you can hit women and not be prosecuted, like that's literally they changed the law, even though that's a reality. Look, there's possibly a mixed race woman here singing about feminism. So it's not all bad. But despite that, no, I absolutely love this song. It's all over the place in a good way. I thought it was really original because she's singing, she's rapping. I enjoyed the several languages. And then I liked it even more when I saw the video. I thought it elevated it because it's really interesting how the positions of everyone. So she's in the middle and all her backing singers are around her. And that made me think of like, I don't know, witches in a coven or something like that. Or like, it's like they're protecting her against the world. And, you know, I don't usually analyze performances like that, but I thought it really stood out. And then I found out what it was about. So, you know, I listened to the song, I watched the video, then I went to look at the lyrics and I was like, oh, you know, the lyrics are great. Yeah. Are you expecting your youth? Oh, beauty. You're over 30. Hello. Where are the kids? You are generally beautiful, but you would lose weight. Put on longer, put on a shorter. As I said, I remain cynical that it precisely with this, and even Little Big, as much as I love them, and I mean, you never know what someone's affiliation is, but Russia definitely are very interested in Eurovision as a tool to promote themselves as like a force in general, whether for good or for bad. But yeah, Manizha, if that's how you pronounce it, one of my favorites.
It would be interesting to see if she's got much of a back catalogue and see Yeah, like, if you
I
say
think
that
she does from
they put
looking her up.
forward because they want to be looked at as a more liberal country.
But I mean, Russia is huge, right? I remember, do you know the rapper Mickey Blanco? Have you heard of him? That he talked about how Russia, you go to Moscow and it's very, very different from going to St. Petersburg or elsewhere. Like in Moscow, really, like that's where Putin is and all this kind of stuff. And I think, yeah, a lot more people are pro-Putin or seemingly pro-Putin. But in the rest of the country, like there's a lot more of a kind of counterculture. So yeah, I also don't know where she's from. And yeah, as I said, you know, I don't necessarily want to presume, but I think she is mixed race, or at least, you know, she's not kind of, pale and blonde and blue-eyed, as you said. So it's a very different, look for someone from what you're used to if you're thinking of a stereotypical Russian person. Where is she in the betting?
She's not in the top 10, but she is 6th favourite to qualify from her semi-final.
Okay.
So people think she will get to the final.
Okay.
Underrated.
So moving on to something I do like, and that is my Italian selection. Måneskin with ZT Buoni.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So the I looked this up. The band title, it means moonshine in Danish, and the song title means shut up and behave, I think.
And apparently they're massive in Italy.
Oh, they are? Okay, I'd never heard of them.
So, I'm not me either. And apparently they have toured the UK, but have they toured the UK or have they done one date in London? So we're going into rock and roll, guys. It's a proper rock and roll band with guitars and a guy who can belt out some decent vocals. It's a bit almost like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, where he sort of like semi-raps verses a little bit, does he? But not as similar to Anthony Kiedis. It's got a very strong riff. There's a Scottish band called Transatlantic, and it very much sounds like the band Transatlantic, if you know them.
I've never heard of them even, no.
But it's got a very strong chorus. And again, when I was going through them, maybe because it is the most, apart from your Finnish Boys, it is the only other rock anthem in there. So maybe that's why it stood out. And obviously, I do hands up like rock music. But then when I was searching for a live version, which I can't find, the only alternative version I could find was them doing it acoustically, and it was terrible.
Oh, yeah. I don't imagine it is very good.
So I think this band needs to be glammed up with a lot of reverb and going for it to go far. But I do think that it is quite light on the charts by people. A lot of people have put it in the top 10 songs of Eurovision. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I like this song. It didn't quite make my final cut, but it would have probably made my top 10 at least. I enjoy, my Italian is very basic, but he swears in the song. He says, non sa chi di che cazzo parla. Cazzo is fuck, so it means like he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I was thinking like, oh, interesting. So I'm like, are they not going to say that on the night? Or is it because it's a language that not that many people speak?
Is it a category A swear word, or is it like saying bugger? Or
well, the cazzo is fuck, I think. So no. And the lyrics are insane. Have you looked at them?
No, go for it.
You are dirty between with mud, yellow cigar between the fingers. I'm sorry, but I believe so much that I can take the sleep. And even if the road is uphill, that's why I'm training now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Off the actors. You better touch your balls. You better be quiet and good. People here are weird, like drug dealers. And yeah, I guess that you enjoyed it and that it was underrated. And I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that it's one of the favorites, because I'm often automatically skeptical of whether people will enjoy rock stuff. And I guess, it's not, as metally as the Finnish Boys, but I'm glad to hear that it's popular.
It's currently 7-1. It's a 4th favourite. So out of my choices, I have chosen 3 of the favourites to win: Switzerland, Italy, and Bulgaria.
Well, let's see.
But yeah, the album and single in 2018 went to number 1 in Italy.
Okay, well there we go. I know that the Finnish song went to number 1 in Finland as well.
This is what I said to you before, like on
Yeah.
the last record. But
Yes,
people
so
are
guys,
now...
we figured it out. Basically, in the past, you couldn't release a song before Eurovision, right? But now you can. Is the short of it.
Overrated.
My next choice, let's go for one that's not on your list. So overrated, Blas Canto, Voy a quedarme.
Which is one who has released it in English as well.
Oh, has he? Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is awful ballad territory. He has a great voice. I can't deny that. But he sounds like budget Enrique Iglesias to me. He even says Contigo Bailare in the song. In 2020, he had a song called Universo, which I thought is much better, much more lively. I don't know if you've seen the video to this, Fran, but geez, so it starts with the Wuthering Heights quote, "Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same." And he's just alone in a house hugging himself, looking very despondent. And then he's looking despondent for most of it. And then suddenly he meets an old woman and they hug. And I don't understand what's going on, especially when you look at the lyrics. It's all about love. So yeah, listen, no judgment if you like older women, but I don't think that's the vibe he's going for. And yeah, just very dramatic lyrics. Stay tonight to watch the sunrise, to feel your voice caressing me. Stay one more second. There's nothing to lose as I draw a sea of memories on your skin. I could go on. I'm not. Yeah, dramatic ballad. I don't trust this guy alone in his house, hugging an old woman. Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, I put down again. It's Enrique Iglesias vibes.
There we go.
Even with that little hush vocal he does as well, which is Enrique to do, and it's a typical dull boy band cover. Even listening to it in English, I still didn't get anything from it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize you had an English version, but yeah.
Yeah, I said this is what I hate about Eurovision, which will mean it will be going well. But interesting, I think it has backfired for Spain because it is currently third from bottom.
Really? I thought this would be more popular. Like,
yeah, I mean,
he's got lovely hair, like he looks nice, but
he's got some high hair. A lot of hairspray is going on there. But the worst. On the bottom entry is Georgia, which we haven't spoken about. But yeah, out of the ones we've discussed, Spain is the lowest one.
Okay, well, I'm not too sad about that. I mean, sorry, Blas, but yeah, I really think Universal was much better, and yeah, this is the Eurovision by numbers that I don't like either.
I wonder if Spain, one of those countries, you get a bye to the final.
You get what? Sorry,
a bye to the final.
Well, yeah. So this, yeah, I think they're one of the big five, aren't they?
Ah, damn it.
Yeah.
So we are going to have to fast forward. Unfortunately, through Spain.
Oh, but it's Italy also. So
Dead sets, yeah.
Yeah, Italy will be there.
So was it? So it's UK,
Australia, France,
Australia.
Italy, Spain, and Germany.
Not Australia.
I guess Australia actually.
They must do. They pump loads of money into it, don't they? They must do.
Well, no, actually, no.
Really?
According to Eurosong.com,
Our favourite website.
Eurosong-contest.fandom.com. That's what I'm on at the moment.
My favourite Eurovision research is Wee Wee Blogs.
Wee Wee Blog.
Seriously, Babs, get onto Wee Blogs for
Wee,
your
as in
information.
as in the French for yes, or we
No,
as in P?
As in Wikipedia, so like WI Blogs.
Okay.
And on there, you've got it separates country, facts, odds, lyrics, polls, reviews, YouTube blogs, and calendar.
Oh, that sounds nerdily quite satisfying. I'll absolutely check out.
That's what I enjoyed it for my research. I was like, thank God for Wee Wee Blogs. So yeah, like I said, that is what a piece of shit.
Overrated.
Staying on with pieces of shit and boring ballads.
Oh, good.
Let's go to North Macedonia.
Yes. Sorry, Basil. Sorry, but yeah.
Apparently, he was like a backing singer previously, and yeah, this song is absolute dullness. And not only is it a dull song, they've obviously tried to throw as much as they can into it. So it's got like an orchestra behind it. It's got a key change, and like it's even got like a high note. It's like trying every trick to hide the fact that the song's bland as fuck.
There's a choir.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I put down, Westlife fans who like nice things might enjoy it. Everyone else falls to the fuck off. Yeah, it's so clean, it's harmful, is how I felt about it. And I listened to it 3 times and thought, yeah, please do not get to the final. Please do not get to the final.
Twice was enough for me. Yeah, I really enjoyed the YouTube comments on this, because I have to say, what's quite nice is when you go and look at the YouTube performances of all the songs, and okay, the ones in the languages I can understand are usually quite positive, and it will be like, oh, this is amazing, 12 points from Italy, or oh, well done Ukraine, we love you from Poland. And yeah, even with this one, like they're like, oh wow, this is like a Disney song, which yes, it does feel like that. And I saw someone had written like Audie from Moana, Elsa from Frozen, Vassal from Eurovision, like those are the 3 main ones. Because yeah, this definitely sounds like a boring Disney song. I wrote key change, the choir comes in and makes it worse. He's got a good voice, like Blas and like a lot of other boring people. But yeah, the fact as well that the video starts, the thing is, I can believe his emotion, because it starts with him talking about how he felt when the concert was cancelled, and he's obviously very emotional about it. And according to this storyline, he sat down at the piano and started writing something, and that was this song, and he cries in the video. And again, the lyrics, trust your heart and just stay strong, unchain my wings and the oceans of tears will fade to black with the sum of my ears. I'm exhausted. But yeah, it's just too dramatic for me. It's like, I don't know, I was gonna say male Lana Del Rey, that's not quite it, but you know what I mean, isn't lyric wise, where it's just like everything is doom and gloom and drama, and I really don't connect with that, and especially when the song is dull as well. Although you were saying like, oh, no one's wearing masks in the video. Actually, his orchestra is in the video, okay. so good at least that they're promoting that kind of safety level. But yeah, I was glad that I was hoping that we'd be on the same page as for this, and it looks like we are.
Yeah, I think he tries a little bit too hard, unfortunately, and I don't think he'll get to the final whatsoever. Sorry, mate. Sorry. Maybe you'll find your way another one.
Overrated.
This is my last bottom 5, my overrated tracks.
Oh, thank God. Okay, I thought that you thought this was underrated, so I'm quite glad to hear that you.
No, yes, it's cunning ploy from Cyprus.
Cynical ploy.
So when you first hear it, you think, "Fuck me, I know the song."
Yes, and the answer is, let's see if we agree.
Lady Gaga.
Bad Romance. Exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. Lady Gaga. Yeah. Oh yeah, because you basically stolen a song by Lady Gaga. Basically.
Yeah.
That's why I think I know it. And then once I realised all the techniques they're doing, I then thought it's also auto-tuned in the music video. So I've never even heard her sing yet. So therefore, I have to rule out any talent whatsoever that this will be any good live. The lyrics are fucking abysmal. It's basic bitch pop. And I'm scared it'll do well.
I think it's going to do well.
I hope it doesn't, because come on, guys, see through this. See through it.
Oh, I'm so delighted, because I thought you would have picked this as underrated. And so strangely, actually, I didn't realize the Lady Gaga connection immediately. So when I first heard it, I was like, oh, here we go. Like it is a little bit trendy to sing in Spanish at the moment, right? Like Little Big did that as well with their song from last year. And I was like, okay, here's another pretty lady from Cyprus singing. And then when I went to look at the video, I was like, this is Lady Gaga. And at the beginning I was like, Poker Face. And then I was like, no, Bad Romance. It feels so cynical. This one for me really feels like, oh, you've gone on the Eurovision checklist box and ticked as many things as you can. Agree on the lyrics. All this spicy melts my icy edges, baby, for sure. Tonight we're going to dance in the moonlight, and then we're going to do it some more.
What's that little thing just in the chorus, like loco or something? It's really
I've got
annoying.
it written down as Lola Loca. I'm breaking the rules. I fell in love. I gave my heart to El Diablo.
So I think like if you saw this on a compilation of the Eurovision songs and you heard 10 seconds of it, you may think, oh, that sounds good. And then you listen to the whole song and then you, oh no.
Yeah, I think, as I said at the beginning, what I did enjoy was how a lot of songs don't stick to, I feel like, one genre, one style, like it goes all over the place. But here, it just feels fake.
And it is the 8th favourite to win.
Yeah, I think it will do well.
So you want to mention any others which is just bubbling under?
So yeah, I think there's a few things that I wanted to discuss that we wouldn't have touched upon. So Flow Rider. Okay, so Flow Rider is featured in the San Marino entry, Adrenalina by Senhit. What the fuck's going on here? Like, I'm like, oh, am I being that person where it's like, oh, these Americans are coming over here and there, but I'm just like, why? What is the point of this here? Like, he's not big enough to draw a crowd. And what I was reading, they don't know if he's going to be there on the night.
He can't.
I mean, I think he could, no? Like,
really? Well, I don't know what the rules are in the Netherlands, but surely he'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks beforehand. Is he really wanting to do that?
If they're going to pay him,
fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that as well.
I mean, I've always enjoyed Flow Rider. Like, he's one of those artists when you know more about his cameos and other people's songs than his own actual material. But yeah, I when you mentioned San Marino, I did laugh because I don't think that I even got that far to see him. I had to go back and watch it. I think I turned over before he even popped up. People were saying about San Marino's song last year was better as well.
And I remember enjoying San Marino last year, but I remember Senhit quite specifically because, Eurovision last year, did you watch it? The kind of version that they had.
Oh yeah, I did. I didn't actually know until late on that they weren't doing it properly.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what, is this like a weird best of or?
It's an insurance thing. So basically, they couldn't do Eurovision because I think the nature of the event had changed. So that's why they could only play 30 seconds. Like, they had to propose something that was very different to the original for insurance reasons. But I remember Senhit was sitting on a bed with a dog, like a very chilled dog the whole time. And I think they came back to her more than once, and it was just there's just this dog there. So yeah, so I wanted to mention that. I want to mention that I thought it was interesting that neither of us picked Iceland.
Well, it's because it was a one-time only, babe, wasn't it? Now you've seen their new song, it's just like the whole time you're watching it, it's like, yeah, but it's not as good as last year, and it's kind of the same, but not as good, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. But it's still very popular. That's the
really
thing. Yeah, I think it is very popular. Like, again, my friends sent it to me before I even got around to watching this. It's like, oh, the Iceland entry is still good, but I almost would have been annoyed if they won. I have to controversially, I think they're adorable. And the fact that this song is about Dathy's marriage and the song last year was about Dathy's daughter, it's very sweet. But I'm just like, I think it's too much on performance, which I know sounds kind of counterproductive, but I'm just like, yeah, that is why people like them so much. It's the dance routine, it's this and then that, and the song is good, but it's not amazing. And I prefer when it's a bit more balanced.
Yeah, like last year when I was working at my favorite songs of 2020, this was on my radar, and then I did realize that without the video, the song isn't that great.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I like them, but I just think that 2020 was their year. They went viral and everyone loved them, and I think that people may have tired by now of their little dance moves. But although they are still a seventh favourite, but I'm interested because obviously in the UK we kind of like kitsch kind of things.
They were huge in the UK.
I don't know, like in other countries, if they like irony and things like that. I don't know.
I think they do, because I think people talk a lot about a British sense of humor, and I think definitely there are things that are more likely to be made in the UK because of that. But Monty Python has fans all over, right? So I think they will have fans outside of those kind of countries. But I agree with you. Think About Things is much better. And then I saw the video and I was like, of course, yeah, the video is fantastic. It's got the Icelandic actor. I had to go and write it down. Olafur Darri Olafsson, who's in Trapped. He's in a bunch of other like actual kind of American.
Is he not
films.
in the Will Ferrell film as well?
Yes, I think he is. I think you're right. And he's the mayor of Iceland, which made me laugh. It's not even the mayor of Reykjavik. And I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, Fran, but I know how to pronounce the volcano.
I can't even pronounce this band, let alone the volcano.
Eyjafjallajökull.
Beautiful.
That's how you pronounce it. Because when I went to Iceland, which was 5 years ago, I was like, I'm not leaving this country without learning how to pronounce this volcano. But yeah, it's very confusing because there's two double L's in the name. And I learnt double L in Iceland is like LT. It's like lt. You do it. So that's why everyone was struggling with it, because it doesn't look like that at all.
I think that band, I can't pronounce, Icelandic band will be playing music festivals in the UK.
Sure.
I can imagine. So I will see them again. Who knows if I will ever see these other entries you've been speaking about? Probably not. Knowing Eurovision.
Well, the thing is, if you ever do go to Eurovision, if imagine if the UK won Eurovision, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I think, as I said on the last episode, what's quite nice is that the city where it's in, it kind of turns into Eurovisionville. And very often they will set up these free stages where they have like old performers on there. So I would really say, Fran, like it's worth once in your life going to a Eurovision, like going to a city that's hosting Eurovision, because it's a very nice atmosphere. You're a Europhile, you feel that when you're walking around, like, even when it was in Lisbon, which is already like a city with a lot of tourism, you definitely felt that there was a vibrancy, like even more so than usual. It is worth going to.
Were you surprised that I had a few non-English songs in my best?
No, I hoped that you would. I hope that you would. So yeah, I'm glad that you didn't adhere to the stereotypes.
Well, thank you for listening to yet another Eurovision episode, our third in a week.
Indeed.
It will be now.
And this one is coming out, I think, the day of the first semi-final. So, whatever we're saying is going to become out of irrelevant very quickly. But, we hope that you enjoy laughing at our predictions.
And Viva Switzerland.
Finland for me.
Thank you. Anything else to add before we go?
I feel really sorry for Rotterdam that they're not going to be experiencing the tourism of people going there, because it's not the prettiest city in the world. But I went there just before Corona to go to an art exhibition, and I discovered a whole new part of the city that I didn't know. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe there's a bit more going on than I thought, because it's the city that really got bombed to shit. And the center is not the prettiest, because it's sort of these prefab or like these 70s style buildings. And I thought, like, oh, that's such a perfect selection for a Eurovision city. So yeah, I hope Rotterdam gets a chance to kind of showcase itself, because yeah, my plan had obviously been to go, but now, yeah, even though it's not very far away from me, I'll be staying in Belgium. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm hoping, so I haven't seen my dad in a few months, and he's getting his second vaccination, and his husband as well, literally like the day before and 2 days before Eurovision. So if the side effects aren't too bad, hopefully we'll watch it together. But if not, I will be watching it probably with friends here. Yeah, I look forward to it.
That sounds like a great way to end. And
Indeed.
wherever you watch Eurovision, guys, we hope that you tell everyone about this podcast.
Yes. And you agree with our analysis.
Yes, and love Europe, and no more fighting, please, guys.
Yeah.
Play safe and sing beautifully.
Play safe,
Au revoir.
stay safe. Adieu.
We've done it. We have finished another podcast. Thank you for getting to the end. If you enjoyed this, please hit like and subscribe, and tell at least 4 of your friends, or just pass us by. If you're lucky enough to have social media, and I'm sure one of you does, we are on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter, OU Music Pod, and Instagram, Over Underrated Music Pod. We hope to see you there, and enjoy Eurovision. Let us know if you agree or disagree, but in the meantime, just have a wonderful time. Bye.